Okay, so the software download is very simple. You just go to DJI's website itself, go over to Products, Phantom 2 Vision Plus, and then you go over here on the top tab here, over to Downloads, and then you go down to Software itself. You're going to want this one right here, the Vision 2 Assistant Software. And that's just another version of that. You want the latest version, 3.6 though. And then you're going to want the RC Assistant Software, and that's for the remote control. That has its own software for calibrations and updates and all that, so you're going to want that. And then you're also going to want the Windows driver. Just like any other hardware you connect up to a PC, it needs its driver to function and talk to the PC. So you're going to want the one from DJI themselves. That's right here. Download that. So you just download those three, the exe files, of course, and they'll install themselves once you open them up. And after that, we'll go on to the software themselves and start doing updates. Okay, so once your big old Phantom battery, the one that plugs into here, is fully charged, we can come over to the computer here and start doing updates and calibrations and all that. Make sure your little shipping plug right here, the support bracket, is out of your gimbal, because once it powers up, it's going to start trying to move around and self-calibrate. You don't want to restrict it, obviously. Second, we need to plug our USB, our micro USB cable, into the front port on here. There's a little flap right there. Pull it up, stick it in there fully, and then we're going to connect it in down to the computer down below. And then finally, you can come back here, put your battery in there. It only goes one way, and fully engage it. Okay, once your battery is fully connected in back there, don't turn it on just yet. We're going to plug the other end of the USB cable into your computer. Alright, in a second here I'm going to walk you through how to use the software and all that and where to get it. But first I want to show you how this thing reacts when you start it up. The way you start these up is you press it once really quick, and then you press and hold it. And then your computer will beep, letting you know that it's connected to it, like usual for a USB device. And then this will flash just like this because we have no GPS signal inside. And as you may or may not have seen, the gimbal has self-centered on there. So that's why I want that shipping tang out of there. So it does a little sweep also. Now, during software updates, anything like that, DJI does recommend pulling these blades off of here and put them to the side in case they spin up during software updates. That's up to you. I do not do that anymore. I've not seen any problems with that during updates or anything, so I do not take them off, but it's up to you, and DJI does recommend it during any kind of calibrations or software updates. So let's get on to the software itself. Alright, so once those three pieces of software are installed on your computer, the RC Assistant software, the Phantom 2 Assistant software, and of course the DJI Windows driver for your Phantom. We're going to plug in the USB cable to the front of the Phantom, the mini USB port, and then into your computer, and then make sure that shipping bracket is off your camera so you don't ruin it. Then we're going to start up the Phantom, press the battery once, and then one more time and hold it. And you'll hear the noise in your computer from the Phantom being connected. Then we're going to open the Phantom 2 Assistant software, like so. And it's automatically going to check for updates to any of the boards inside of there. And it may start doing update automatically. Do not cancel out of that. Mine did the same thing when I first installed it. So after that's done and you get a screen like this, we're going to go right over to the upgrade tang here. And we're going to make sure everything on here is upgraded that has an update available. You can see these are matching, no updates, and these are matching, so we're good on this part of it. That's a very important part of it. And after you do each one of these updates, it'll probably prompt you, but it's a good idea to do a power cycle of the Phantom and then start back up. We can start going into here. Now we're going to do a remote control calibration, and then we're going to come over here and do a calibration also. I will do that at the end here, but I want to go through here and tell you a little bit about this software and a few settings that I think you should have set on your Phantom. So this page right here, the very front page, is just an overview page, everything that's going on within inside of there. So we're going to go to the basic tab. You don't need to really touch the orientation tab. You're going to want it to be facing forward just like this, obviously. As far as RC goes, this is what we're going to be doing the calibration on in a minute here once the remote control has finished charging over there. Make sure it does say the upgraded version. That's one with the dial on the side there. You see it there? That's the one we have, obviously, the Vision Plus. So we're going to do this calibration later. It's very important before you ever go out and fly. The gains you don't need to really touch unless you really want to start messing with it. You can read the information on the side here if you want. And then advanced, this just gives you information about everything going on inside of that battery currently. The limits, you're going to want to go home altitude to be, I would say, about 200 feet. You're going to want that because in case you're flying around trees, anything like that, most trees around this area are around 150 feet or so. So if you're at 200, you should be safe except for like cell towers and power lines and all that on the big high tension lines. So 200 feet I think is a good value on there. And for this tab right here, the flight limits of the special area, you could pretty much leave that alone. What they have set is what they have set. That's for around airports and all that stuff to keep away from the airport, which is always a good idea. Distance limits. The maximum height you can go is 400 feet according to the FAA. So I would set at 400. You can go up to 1,000 if you like, but again, it's against regulations. And 1,000 is pretty far away, so it's going to be hard to see anything anyways. Now distance, either way until you really get used to the craft and the craft is acting normally. After flying it a couple times, okay, I think seems like it's flying just fine. It's really smooth. It's not acting erratic. Then you can go beyond 1,000 feet. It's like a downfield type deal. But for right now, 1,000 feet downfield is more than enough to get used to the craft on there. Into the tools, what you're going to want to do, if you want to do anything in here, is check your IMU status. Now when I first started this up and I started upgrading everything, my IMU did require calibration on there. So you just click it and it'll tell you yes or no. And this can be skipped, it's fine. If it did tell you need to do a calibration, all you gotta do is go down here to basic calibration, click on it, make sure your Phantom 2 is just sitting there steady, and you know, controlled environment, hit calibration, and it'll calibrate for you. Advanced, you really don't need to go to that. That's a little more complicated, whereas this one calibrates the IMU based on just sitting on a level platform. But beyond that, there's not much else to this besides calibrating that remote control. Also over here on the info tab right here, you can check for new updates to this software itself, the Windows software for it, and it'll check. So that's all there is to the Vision 2 software here, the assistant software. Now up here, right here, there you can go from Phantom to NASA M working modes, and I would not go to that unless you are an experienced flyer, obviously. Phantom mode is just fine for just about everybody else. It's more autonomous, and it'll make sure you don't crash your quad. So with it being in Phantom software working mode, this quad is very, very easy to fly. So that's about it until the remote control charges. Then we're going to calibrate that with the RC Assistant software, and then we're going to come back to this one, and we are going to do another calibration.